Hello, today I'm going to present to you the roadmap, predominantly the roadmap for the APMA in 2024. I'm going to cover off a few other things though. I'm going to cover off a couple of quick win projects that we want to get out of the door, the editorial calendar that everybody on this call is entitled to contribute towards, and then I just wanted to give you a very quick update on the website. Today's presentation should take about 20 to 25 minutes. So hopefully not too much of your time, and hopefully you'll find the information engaging, and also it will give you some enthusiasm from potentially wanting to get involved in some of the projects. So let's crack on with the roadmap. For a little bit of context before I talk about the projects, and as a reminder, some of you will have already heard this, but back in the summer, I carried out a series of workshops as well as a questionnaire asking people what they would want a trade association to focus in on. Unsurprisingly, there are a lot of different ideas coming from a different variety of companies. This gives you a broad indication about what some of those main topics were. Now, one of these isn't any more important than another. They're all equally important. But really what it does show is the vast array of areas that we could potentially focus in on. I think because we have such a wide and broad addressable audience in the affiliate industry, we will try and cover off in our roadmap as many of these points as possible. Our main limitation, like anything else in life, is time and resource. And so that's why it's really, really important that if any of these topics or projects stand out to you as areas of interest, that you do kind of raise your hand to get involved, either as a project lead or as a project contributor. So I've presented this slide before. This set of agreed projects, this shortlist that we got from our long list of projects, came about off the back of 4 workshops that were carried out in the early summer. The workshops were individual ones for advertisers, agencies, publishers, and networks. We asked everybody to bring along an idea or suggestion about something that would really help them do their job better or would really help promote their business better. And we collated all of that feedback in post-it notes. We then aggregated them because invariably there was crossover, and then we anonymously voted on them. That gave us a long list of around about 20 to 25 projects, which we then filtered down into this dozen set of projects here. I've added one new one in, which is around open banking, and I'll come on to talk about why shortly. So I then took each of those projects and I tried to scope them out according to all of the feedback that we had got about what those projects look like. And as it transpired, it was sort of fairly obvious that some of them were going to be bigger projects than others. So what I've tried to do is bucket them into 3 areas, which are tier 1 projects, the biggest projects, tier 2 projects, which are kind of mid-tier, and then we've got BAU and always on. The tier 1 projects are tracking, training, publisher accreditation, the state of the industry study, and sales standardization. The tier 2 projects are more mid-tier ones, so they are ones that may only run for a very short period of time, or they're a little bit more focused and maybe a bit more narrow in scope. There's sales metrics and awareness, which has already been initiated, which I'll talk about shortly. Full funnel awareness of publishers, open banking, standards and best practice. And then the BAU and always on, PR, marketing, events, content, editorial, dealing with regulators and trade bodies, and showcasing affiliate models. These are areas that inevitably cross over with the other projects. So for example, as I'll come on to talk about shortly, in the tracking project, we are going to be producing an awful lot of content. So it makes sense that they feed into the BAU stuff around PR, marketing, content that we push out through our channels and through the website. So what I'm going to do is just show you how I've layered all of those projects onto a timeline for 2024. Here you can see I've run the timeline from Q1 on the left up to Q4. This is obviously running full year 2024. And I placed the projects according to when hopefully we can do them. Now, this is a really, really stretching and ambitious roadmap. I think if we can achieve the majority of this work, we will have done a good job. As I mentioned, it very much is contingent on members getting involved, and explain how you can get involved shortly. So for the tier 1 projects, I've scoped them all out individually with the exception of the sales standardization project. I'm only going to run through the tracking project today. You will have access to the slides, so you can look at the other slides in detail. But in the interest of time, I just wanted to show you what the format looked like and how we arrived at the different areas. So inevitably with any project, you want to scope them out properly. So we have an objective, a purpose, an audience, the stakeholders who the project is needs to involve, how we're going to do it, and then what success looks like. Now, I don't have access to sensitive and commercial advertiser data, which is why in the objective, I don't have a % of advertiser affiliate marketing revenue that we would look to track through optimal affiliate tracking. However, what I hope is that over time, with different companies being involved, we'll be able to scope out what success looks like and where we're making progress. Now, the purpose of this project is multi-pronged. Tracking is a very, very broad umbrella term. It covers off browser changes, it covers off consent banners, it obviously covers ad blocking, and also it is talked about in lots of different ways, and it's multi-layered in that different tracking solutions can coexist at the same time. So in terms of our purpose, I think our purpose is also multi-pronged. So we want to obviously maximize sales and revenue. I think by focusing in on optimal tracking, we really need to push to brands the importance that gives them in terms of being transparent, in terms of attributing value and marketing spend to the right publishers. We want to raise awareness of tracking options, and we want to demystify the complexity of tracking. Again, this operates at a macro level, you know, what is tracking and how does it work conceptually? But then we need to understand that every network and platform will talk about its proprietary tracking in a different way. And very often we're talking about similar technologies. Now, this project is not designed to kind of iron all of that out and say to networks they can't talk about their proprietary tracking in a way that they want to, but it is very much trying to stress to everybody that tracking X looks like tracking Y on another network. We also want to make sure that we're tracking across everything, and that includes app tracking as well. We want to highlight future-proofed solutions. So this gives us an opportunity to talk about the really great and interesting work that's happening in terms of developing future-proofed, forward-thinking technology solutions. And within the channel, we know that being a first-party cookie-first channel, that gives us an opportunity to really draw a distinction between other channels that are more reliant on third-party legacy systems. Our audience is obviously everybody. We need everybody on board to be on board for this. Advertisers to really do the work in terms of the integrations, but networks, publishers, agencies to also be on board in terms of making sure we're pushing towards the same goals. Stakeholders, everybody needs to be involved. Success, I think, is fairly clear in that we want to track more revenue and we want to upgrade tracking programs. But we also want to build a comprehensive library of collateral. I'm someone that's not particularly technical, so that's why I'm interested in potentially leading this project, because if all of the training modules and the comprehensive library of content that we're producing, if all of that makes sense to me, then hopefully that's a good yardstick about how it makes sense to other people as well. So in terms of the how, I've put together an illustrative timeline for the first 6 months of the year about what different milestones could look like across on a monthly basis. It's very much utilizing as many avenues as possible, as many channels, as many media formats, as many companies, as many insights, as many case studies, as many interviews. And really, the more content and collateral we have, the more that we can build a really, really solid case for being able to push this out to as wide an audience as possible. I think it's also really important that we don't just talk to ourselves. We know that in the affiliate industry, we have an issue sometimes by working within our kind of own walled garden as an industry. So we really need to break out of that and make sure that we're communicating this more broadly and more widely. So I think having a C-suite focus for some of our content as well is really important. So that's just an illustrative example. As I mentioned, it's only the first 6 months of the year, but that gives you a sense of, for these big cornerstone projects, about how detailed and how complex they potentially can be, but also how hopefully impactful they can be if we're all working together to produce the content. For the tracking project, we will be running this as a consistent year-long, always-on marketing campaign as well, which I'm currently working on. Now, I'm not going to run through the other projects with you. You'll have access to the slides so you can see what I've done for them, but I will just cover off the core objectives of the other cornerstone ones. And that's to deliver a comprehensive training program, to create a low-cost accreditation scheme for publishers that focuses on excellence and best practice, and to create an annual de facto state of the industry report that includes definitive data and insights championing the channel. The last cornerstone project really still needs to be fleshed out. It's based around sales standardization, which in itself could be quite tricky. So I think with this project, what we will do is keep it in for now, but it might be that if we feel that it's a bit of an ambitious project to deliver and it's potentially quite problematic, then we maybe park it for the time being and revisit it when we have the space and capacity to do it justice. So I mentioned the project plans, there they are. Sales standardization still to be scoped. The tier 2 projects I'll touch on very briefly. We have the full funnel project, the payments guide, the standards, and open banking. So full funnel is about showing how affiliate marketing contributes across the full path to purchase. The payments guide is to raise awareness of payment times and highlight the importance of timely payments. This project has already been initiated. Julia Stent is working closely with a small group of publishers to scope this out. And her next stage is to reach out to networks to make sure that they're on board and they're happy to contribute information. We're hoping to get this piece of work out in Q1. Standards is the third one, which is to update the existing set of standards that exists and introduce new ones where needed. This really harks back to work that was done around about a decade ago underneath the auspices of the IAB and the Affiliate Marketing Council. That work really has kind of been mothballed. It exists, you can find that content. It's not easy to find, but it is now out of date. And so what I want to do is take those projects and repurpose them for the benefit of the APMA in a setting, in a 2024 setting. It also includes best practice documentation, charters, and as I say, we have the ability to add to them as well where needed. The final one, which I mentioned as a new project, is open banking, and that's to showcase a fast developing and important element of the affiliate channel. Open banking isn't an affiliate type. It's a platform that affiliates of any creed can really tap into. So really, this is about us making sure that there's full awareness about what open banking means in 2024 and why it's a potentially an exciting element of the affiliate channel that could experience fast growth in 2024. Now, the BAU and always on, as I mentioned, a lot of this really dovetails into the projects or flows from the project. So when we talk about the editorial and the content, a lot of content will hopefully come from those projects that taps into these kind of always on strands. Showcasing affiliate models, I very much see as being case studies, award-winning entries, and other examples from members working collaboratively with clients. And it gives brands the ability to showcase themselves and also gives the members the ability to showcase their great work. The final one is about outreach to regulators and trade bodies. This is a project I will take on personally, and that is to make sure, again, that we're not speaking just to ourselves and that we're going out and reaching out to external bodies to make sure that we are seen as the place to come to if they have any questions about affiliate marketing, but also helping with any potential issues or areas that are being explored outside of the channel that potentially have an impact on us. And that could be regulatory, through regulatory work. It could be kind of changes to the cap code, for example. So that's really about us reaching out and making contact with external third-party entities. So that really deals with the structure of the roadmap for 2024, but there are a couple of core projects that have come through off the back of member recommendations more recently, and I just wanted to make sure that you're aware of these. So the first one is GA4, A member suggested to me that it'd be great to have a one-stop shop guide to GA4. A lot of content exists already, has already been published. And so really this is a question of collating that all and pulling it all together in a simple guide that is accessible to anybody. I'm still collating the content, recording on the 8th of December. I will be commencing the work of this week, commencing the 11th. So if you're listening to this within a couple of days of that, yes, you have missed the deadline for submitting any content that you might want to be considered. You can see the link to the form to submit your content there. However, please do submit it, and it might be that I'm able to incorporate any kind of new content that's coming through. 8 companies have already submitted content for it. Everyone will obviously get name checked. You have the ability to add quotes from people within your organization as well. I'm hoping to release this piece of content in January. And again, it dovetails into the tracking project. Vouchers, I've also received some feedback on this. This came from another member who suggested it would be great to focus in on what good looks like in the voucher code space and how brands can tackle fake voucher code content. There's a deadline of next week to submit content for this. Again, there's a form to submit your content. If you're interested, it's a short form that asks you a few questions. If you have any published content, please do send it through, because again, if it's quotable and if it is explained on a practical level how to tackle certain things, then that's great content that hopefully we can use. So they're 2 kind of out of the traps projects that hopefully will help us to build some momentum. Now, one other thing that I wanted to touch on was kind of our always on editorial calendar. So going back to the always on BAU stuff with content, I've pulled together a list of projects, a list of editorial titles that article titles that people can submit content for. I'm looking for 500 to 800 words, probably a minimum of one slide. One side of A4. Whole list of topics here. Feel free to edit these. Feel free to add to them. Some of them have already been taken by members. The link you can see will also accompany this presentation, so that you can access the editorial calendar yourself. You can go in and edit that, put your own date against it, put your own purpose against it. And again, we'll obviously give you you and your company a name check and name credit, and we will then obviously look to repurpose that content and push it out through our channels. The final thing from me today is just to give you a very quick update on the website. So the website's live. We have a member directory that we want to feature every member on. We have most members' listings already in there. You can see through this video, we're scrolling through the membership page. We have all members featured, be they gold members, silver members, or associate members, executive partner members. As I mentioned, we have a handful of those still to add. In terms of what the members page looks like, this gives you an indication. And there's the opportunity on the right-hand side to add 2 unique pieces of content as well. So if you haven't already, if your company is lacking a posting on that, although to be fair, I think that everything is kind of in progress to make sure that it's fully up to date. But if it's not, then please do let us know. And obviously, if you want to make any changes to the page as well, please do contact Jenna. One other thing that we're looking for from members as well is our kind of intro, who our members are. And we've published our first member profile with ThoughtMix, and as and when they come through, we'll be publishing more from every other member as well. We also have an events page. This presentation was put together shortly before the events page was created. It has now been created. We've got 3 upcoming events on there. If you want to post your events, your company events on there, please again contact Jenna and she will add them to the page. We also have a logged in members page that was coming in January. That will obviously be dependent on us having stuff to actually include behind that's in a locked area. That will be available to everybody, every member company and everyone that works within those member companies as well. And that's everything from me. Contact details are there should you want to get in touch with us. The next meeting for members will be on the 14th of February on Valentine's Day. We're looking for a venue to host us in person. There will also be dial-in options available as well, but look forward to seeing you and hearing from you shortly. Thank you.